Lori Vallow, who has already been convicted of killing her children, is on trial for apparently conspiring to delete her husband as well, her ex-husband Charles Vallow. But the more interesting thing about this case is the fact that she is representing herself rather than having the aid of a lawyer. Is she dumb for doing so? In my opinion, it's almost always a bad idea for anybody to represent themselves in court. Why is that? Number one, because of lack of legal knowledge, lack of an understanding of the court process. If I asked you, what does a motion in limine mean? What does voir dire mean? That is something that most criminal defense attorneys are going to understand. In fact, every competent defense attorney will know exactly what you're talking about, but a layperson, a self-represented individual will not. Why is that important? It's important because there are times when you have to make a motion, you will have to want the judge to do certain things and take advantage of procedural rules to help you in a case. How can you do that if you don't know what the rules are? That's why it's a bad idea. Number two, another reason is strategically, sometimes it's best not to put yourself in front of a jury, not to speak in front of them, ask questions, because guess what? If you are cross-examining someone, you have to take an adversarial position. Why? Because that's cross-examination. So you're trying to do things to help your case, such as impeach them, make them look biased or bad, etc. And it's good to have a third party, an outsider, a lawyer do that on your behalf, because the jury might end up disliking you if they don't like what you're saying and they don't like the way that you're speaking to a witness. What about if it's a vulnerable witness, such as a kid or person with disabilities, etc.? How do you think you will come across in such an instance? Or worst yet, and this is a case that's often cited, how about if it is the victim of a crime when you are suspected of actually committing some heinous crime against them? Should you be the person cross-examining them? That is another reason it's a bad idea. And the third reason it's a bad idea to be self-represented is because there's no need to. You don't want to take additional burdens on the headache of having to go through all of the case files, to craft arguments, to create a theory of the case, to do all of these things, not just as a person fighting for your life or trying to avoid conviction, but also as a trained advocate. You don't want to have to take that additional burden on. But it highlights the hubris, the desperation, and the difficulties that criminal defendants have to face. And this is why they end up in that position, even though they should not be and should not have to.